come to order. Good morning. Good morning. All right, boy, everybody's in a cheerful, good mood this morning. This time I'm going to call on Commissioner Keith Steele. Please lead us in prayer.
Let's pray. Our very gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this men and women who've come here to conduct your business. Be with all these that have traveled this way to participate. Lead this country in the path that you've desired, dear Lord. Be with us as we make decisions. Give us the wisdom to make the right ones. That we make decisions that's fair to each and every individual in Gibson County. Lead, guide, direct us. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please recite me, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you would, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Edwards.
Here.
Commissioner Cunningham. Commissioner Sykes.
Here.
Commissioner Longmire.
Here.
Commissioner Carr.
Here.
Commissioner Mackin.
Here.
Commissioner Bivens. Here. Commissioner Tubbs.
Here.
Commissioner Morgan.
Here.
Commissioner Cameron.
Here.
Commissioner Summers.
Here.
Commissioner Cole.
Here.
Commissioner Names. Here. Commissioner Locke.
Here.
Commissioner Connell.
Here.
Commissioner Flake.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner McEwen. Commissioner Littleton.
Here.
Commissioner Tilton.
Here.
Commissioner Steele.
Here.
Commissioner Harris.
Here.
Commissioner Childers.
Here.
Commissioner Moss.
Here.
24 present, 1 absent. We do have a quorum. Hopefully everyone received in your packets a copy of the minutes from our previous session. Does anyone have any changes they'd like to bring forward to those minutes? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion that we suspend the reading of those minutes and adopt as presented. Motion made by Commissioner Steele, seconded by Commissioner Tubbs. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. You also received a copy of reports in your packets. I'd like to entertain a motion to suspend the reading of these reports and adopt as presented. Motion made by Commissioner Flake, seconded by Commissioner Cole. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. We also had budget transfer requests involving salary line items, including those packets. I'd like to entertain a motion on those transfers. Motion made by Commissioner Moss, seconded by Commissioner Cameron. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. Thank you. This time we have a guest with us today. We have Mr. Charles Curtis with the Tennessee County Commissioners Association. He'd like to take just a couple of minutes to introduce himself and talk to you guys about the services he provides. Mr. Curtis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Some of you have encountered me before at a regional meeting and maybe in Nashville. My name is Charles Curtis. I'm the Executive Director of the County Commissioners Association. I'm your employee. I actually work for you. There's 1,654 of you. When I was in the legislature, I had 60-something thousand bosses, so I've improved the situation some. But short biographical information, I was a fire chief at home for 4 years and started attending county commission meetings, decided I need to be on the county commission. I got elected to the county commission in 1982. In 86, I was elected county executive, and then in 94, I was elected to the General Assembly and was elected 10 times to serve in the General Assembly. When I first got there, Paul Phelan was representing this territory, and then I think Chris Crowder and now Curtis Halford. I served with all three of those gentlemen. They're all three good men to work with. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I'm a bricklayer by trade. Most of my life I've worked outside. My first venture down in this neck of the woods was to see Chicken fight. Back in 82 and 83, we came to see him to get a job. There's nothing going on in Tennessee. We went to work in Texas for H&M Construction. I just want you to know I'm a resource. I don't know everything, don't claim to know everything, but I'm pretty good at finding things out, and it's one of my favorite things to do is to cut red tape. I've given you my card. It's got all my phone numbers on it, and if I can help you in any way, don't ever hesitate to call me. It's got my home phone, my cell phone, and my office number. And I tell people, if you want to call me at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to make me mad. But my wife will probably be mad for 2 or 3 days. I'm not some bureaucrat or some dignitary. I'm just an old country boy that's seen a lot. If I can help you, ever help you, please call me. I want to share 2 things with you, then I'll get out of your hair. One is I want to give you the legislative report this year. There was 3,864 bills and resolutions filed in the legislature this year. You've got a board that's made up of county commissioners across the state. They reviewed those that pertain to county government, and they found 18 that they thought would benefit counties. And of those 18, 12 of them became law this past session. They found 31 that they felt was going to be detrimental to county government, and we worked as hard as we could against them, but 7 of them still became law. We were able to stall or defeat 24 of them. It's a job that 1 or 2 people can't do. We all got to be involved in it, and we try to keep you informed as best we can. There's 2 rules I live by. I'm a Sunday school teacher, have been for about 40 years now. One is biblical. These 2 rules I live by. One's biblical, the other one's just logical. The logical one is speak well of your enemies, you made them. That seems humorous. It doesn't make much sense, but the more you think about it, the more profound it is. As I told you earlier, I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I wasn't the easiest fellow to get along with 30 or 40 years ago. But after I read this article, I started thinking about it, and the more I thought about it, all of a sudden I start dealing with people different. When I have a debate with someone or an argument, I try to leave their pride intact and the possibility of a friendship sometime in the future. I don't want to make an enemy. We get enough of those in a natural way. We don't need to create them on our own. And the last one I want to share with you is biblical. If you have to twist or turn the truth, God's not in it. Amen. God's not in it, you don't need it. I hope and pray y'all have a wonderful day. God bless each and every one of you. Call me if I can help you.
Thank you, Mr. Curtis.
Thank you.
And I would encourage all of our county commissioners to stay engaged with your association. I work closely with the Association of County Mayors, and it's very difficult for anybody, especially carrying out the day-to-day business of the county, to stay on top of our mandates and issues that may be coming through the state legislature. And Mr. Curtis does a great job of being a watchful eye for us there. So we appreciate your hard work on that. You received a copy of resolutions in your packet. This time I'd like to make a motion that we dispense with the reading of resolutions. Motion made by Commissioner Miles, seconded by Commissioner Flake. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. Resolution number 1 is a housekeeping resolution to reconcile the books in the assessor's office. Do I hear a motion on resolution number 1? Motion made by Commissioner Steele, seconded by Commissioner Carr. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Egbert?
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes?
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire?
Yes.
Commissioner Carr?
Yes.
Commissioner Matthews?
Yes.
Commissioner Bivens?
Yes.
Commissioner Tubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan?
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron?
Yes.
Commissioner Summers?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole? Commissioner Nance? Commissioner Locke?
Yes.
Commissioner Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Flake?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner McEwen?
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Pillow?
Yes.
Commissioner Steele?
Yes.
Commissioner Yergin?
Yes.
Commissioner Childress?
Yes.
Commissioner Moss?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Resolution number 2 is a resolution to define Marriage is that between a man and a woman. Before we entertain a motion on this, I'd just like to say I was privileged and honored to be able to participate in the National Day of Prayer Thursday at Skullbone Community Center, and this was one of the things that was discussed and talked about. And I'd just like to ask that, once again, that everyone here and everyone, period, please pray for the Supreme Court of the United States. They'll be ruling probably next month on this issue, and I just hope and pray that they read their Bible's definition of marriage before they make a ruling on this. Let's all pray that they do that. Do I hear a motion on resolution number 2? Motion made by Commissioner Hughes, seconded by Commissioner Kimmerer. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. Motion carries. Resolution number 3 is a resolution to appropriate funds for overtime at the Gibson County Ambulance Authority in the amount of $75,000. Do I hear a motion on resolution number 3? Motion made by Commissioner Steele. There's a second. Seconded by Commissioner Carr. Is there any discussion on resolution number 3? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Egbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham,
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes,
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire,
Yes.
Commissioner Carr,
Yes.
Commissioner Macklin,
Yes.
Commissioner Bivens,
Yes.
Commissioner Tubbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron,
Yes.
Commissioner Summers,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Nance,
Yes.
Commissioner Locke,
Yes.
Commissioner Cottle,
Yes.
Commissioner Flake,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner McEwen,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelham,
Yes.
Commissioner Steele,
Yes.
Commissioner Yergin,
Yes.
Commissioner Childers,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Resolution number 4 is a resolution requesting a private act to be sponsored by our state representative. Before I entertain a motion on resolution number 4, I'd like to get you guys updated on some of the efforts that we've got underway currently to address some of the concerns pointed out by this resolution. Following our January County Commissioners meeting, as you all know, we've had a lot of discussions about comp time and overtime in the county and how it's accrued and documented. I asked Greg Pillar, our new Director of Finance, to put together an employee policy manual, updated employee policy manual to address these issues. And we had a meeting, was in February or March? February. We had a meeting with the department heads. We had 100% attendance. We had the department heads all in this room, and we discussed that manual and asked them to weigh in on it. So we're taking feedback now from the other department heads, and we're doing some changes to facilitate their needs. And what we're going to do is bring that manual, that policy, to you guys as quickly as we can and let you guys ratify it and say this is what we're going to do going forward. And at that time, we're going to ask all the department heads to sign off on that manual. We're going to have a page on the back where they'll sign that manual and say that we agree with it, and this is what we're going to do in terms of comp, not just comp time, but other issues as well, vacation and other things. So I would like to ask that you guys bear with us while we're putting that together. Several department heads have already addressed. I know the sheriff has addressed the comp time issue in his office. I know that every department head that I've hired since I've been in office has signed an agreement that they won't receive comp time. So I've addressed it at my end, and I don't know when we'll have that manual to present to you guys. Hopefully at our September meeting, maybe we'll have that manual to present to you guys for your consideration, and at that time we'll get everybody on the same page and everybody under the same umbrella. So I don't think it sends a good message to Nashville when we ask them to come in and help run our business. I think we're addressing it, and I think we just need to be given a little more time to do so. And I'll remind all of you, the last time we asked the state to come in and help run our business, we ended up with 5 school districts. So, you know, so there you go. So with that said, with all due respect, I would like to entertain a motion to table resolution number 5 pending our manual. Motion made by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Sykes.
Resolution number 4.
Resolution number 4. Motion has been made to table resolution number 4. Motion's been made by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Sykes. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed?
No.
Ayes have it. Thank you. We have 4 late file resolutions. Late file resolution 1 is a resolution to appropriate FEMA funds received from June 2014 declared disaster at the Highway Department, the amount of $164,000. We appreciate that FEMA money, don't we, Mr. Stoppenhagen? Oh yeah, I do that every time. But before we do that, I'd like to entertain a motion to suspend reading of late files. Motion made by Commissioner Steele, seconded by Commissioner Smith. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. Now the late file resolution 1 is a resolution to set up FEMA money at the Highway Department. I'd like to entertain a motion. Motion made by Commissioner Moss, second by Commissioner Flake. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Egbert?
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes?
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire?
Yes.
Commissioner Carr?
Yes.
Commissioner Macklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Bivens?
Yes.
Commissioner Tubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan?
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron?
Yes.
Commissioner Summers?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Nance?
Yes.
Commissioner Locke?
Yes.
Commissioner Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Flake?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yeah.
Commissioner McEwen?
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelham?
Yes.
Commissioner Steele?
Yes.
Commissioner Yergin?
Yes.
Commissioner Chidley?
Yes.
Commissioner Moss?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Late file resolution is a resolution to authorize the litter grant for the Sheriff's Department. Do I hear a motion on late file number 2? Motion made by Commissioner Cameron, seconded by Commissioner Smith. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries. Late file resolution number 3 is a initial resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $3,025,000 in general obligation bonds for Gibson County, Tennessee, and this is the one we're here to talk about. As many of you recall, 2 years ago we asked for an engineering, about 2 years ago, we asked for an engineering study to be done on the courthouse. We've got several issues, mainly dealing with flooding issues in the basement. We've got roof issues, issues with the old boiler system. I could go on and on. We've got that study back, and I presented this at the budget hearing, first night of the budget hearings. I think we had, Greg, how many do we have? Commissioners? 17, I believe, commissioners at that budget hearing. So I want to applaud you guys for being there. We had a big turnout, biggest turnout we've ever had for budget hearings, and I appreciate you guys being there. And we went into depth, and I'll be glad to go into it again. But we talked about our issues. I have the master study here. We've got some estimates, cost estimates together. And as you guys know, anytime we're looking to do a capital outlay, first off, nobody likes having to borrow money. You know, I don't like having to do capital outlays if we don't have to. The issue with the courthouse is this simple. We're looking at about $1,700,000 worth of work. And if you look at this study, there's nothing lavish in this study. But this is basic, keeping the building standing issues. We've got really 3 options if you want to look at it. Option 1 is the one I'm presenting here today, $1,700,000 to keep the current building standing, to keep it sound, to keep it energy efficient, address code issues, public safety issues. These are just basic preserving that building issues for $1,700,000. For about $8 million, we can build another office building off-site, a modern office building. Or for $20 to $25 million, we can tear the current courthouse down and build another one just like it to modern standards where it stands. So we're looking at $1,700,000 8 million or 20 to 25 million. And I'm proposing the $1,700,000. And I want to say this isn't something I look forward to dealing with. It's not something that I'm glad we're having to do. It's going to be a nightmare. The entire yard's going to have to be dug up. We're going to have to dig 10 feet down past the foundation to get to the foundation of the building, and probably 10 or 12 feet back to seal that foundation to keep the water out of our elevator and out of the basement. And it's going to require probably 2 of the entrances to be blocked off at any given time. So it's going to be a nightmare for the people coming there to do business. It's going to be a nightmare for us to manage. Luckily, we got good partners to help do that. And if it rains today, if it's raining when we leave here, I would invite any of you to please come by and look at what we're dealing with. And it's supposed to be raining, I think, when we adjourn or when we recess. We've got anywhere from 30 to 40 buckets in the attic of that courthouse catching rainwater every time it rains. It's a mess. We got water running in several different places in the basement. The elevator shaft has gotten to the point that it floods so often that we've had to put an automatic bilge pump in it to pump water out when we're not there. So, as you guys know, if you let water run in the basement, if you got water leaking through the basement and through the roof, it's going to tear that building down eventually. The water's going to win if we don't stop it. But it's several other issues, getting the boiler system out of there and getting a mechanical unit, modern mechanical unit will be a big help. That boiler's 60 years old, and I've contacted the Smithsonian to see if they'd be interested in putting it on display and come and getting it. It's that old and it's dangerous. I mean, we're subject to inspection every year, and every year they tell us that boiler's going to give way eventually. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So we've got some other requests as part of that. Anytime we do a capital outlay, there's 2 things that we always need, that are always wore out, and that's ambulances and sheriff's cars. We're always in need of those. So while we're doing a capital outlay, I talked to the sheriff, and the sheriff thinks he can, for $310,000, he can get 10 vehicles that'll replace half his fleet, and then he can start replacing a few more each year after that to get his fleet up to speed. We've got Andy Zerker with the Fair Board here today. We've got numerous issues with the fairgrounds it's a can that's been kicked down the road forever, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody else. We've got water line issues. Many of you know about what happened last year during the fair with the power line falling down. We've got roof issues out there, and they've been extremely patient with us, the Fair Board has, and waiting on us to do something about some of these things. And the sheriff's also asked for some security upgrades at the sheriff's department. And Lord, you know about some of these issues. And I'm just going to open the floor to discussion. If anybody has any questions about any of this, I will be glad to answer them. I've got Mr. T.O. Lashley and Billy Hill with Lashley Rich here today. And I've also got Scott Gibson, our financial advisor with Cumberland Security, here today to talk about how we can fund it, what it will do to our debt service. And just to touch on that for a minute, our debt service is healthy, and that's good, but it's probably a little bit too healthy. And last year, we moved $440,000 in TVA assets from debt service to capital projects. I think we can take on this debt to address the courthouse issues and these other issues. I think we can move that TVA money into capital projects one more time this year, and I think we can start drawing our debt service down a little bit. To remind you guys, the IRS says, and Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, we're only supposed to have about 13 months worth of debt service in that fund. Right now, we've got over twice that in that fund, and I hope they don't, but the IRS could at any time come in and penalize us and tax our bonds for having too much in our debt service. So I think this and moving the TVA money one more time, I think will stabilize that and bring that down to a more acceptable level. So, like we do with every issue that comes through here, 2 questions. Is it the right thing to do, and can we afford it? And I want to thank, first off, I want to thank the building committee, Robin, you and your committee. This has been a long, arduous road that we've traveled, and we'll continue to travel going forward with it. I want to thank the budget committee for hearing us out on these issues last week, and I'm going to shut up. open the floor to questions. Does anybody have any questions?
On the courthouse, repair, is that gonna be a real firm estimate there? Or, you know, are we gonna dig down in there and, like I say, when you tear out one part, you find something else that needs fixing that you didn't see before? Is that been allowed for pretty much?
Well, we've got some contingency money in there. I hate to call it padding, but yeah, we do have some contingency money. And I hope we don't have to, but if we move that TVA money into capital projects one more time, that'll be about $400,000. And that money can be used for anything. It can be used for if we run into troubles at the courthouse, or if we need more ambulances down the road, computers, anything. That'd be up to you guys to decide once it gets set up. So, Billy, you want to address that? Billy put our budget together on the courthouse project. And let me ask Billy this time. I don't think last year, Rich, man. This has been, like I said, it's been a long road. And going through the engineering study and putting these numbers together, Billy's put a lot of work into it. Knows that building better than I do.
To address your question was, yes, we have contingencies in because of the courthouse being as old as it is, and there's still some unknowns in there. But hopefully we got enough in all of our categories or line items that if we run into situations that we got it covered in this cost estimate. So.
We hope we don't start digging and find an Indian burial ground or something like that. Yeah.
Do you feel pretty firm with this?
I do. We spent a lot of time after the study was done by TL&M. We spent months and months and months with several folks at the courthouse, in and out, going through it. Of course, we've done work up there in the past and pretty familiar with the problems. And, yeah, I feel good with the estimate. I think what we put together will solve the problems that the courthouse has. We do the basement, do all the roofs. There's rafters that's deteriorated that we're going to replace. So it's a major undertaking. I think we got a good estimate here.
Is it flooding in the basement included in this?
Yes.
Billy, one thing I'd like to add is what Tom stressed the other night, that there's people obviously interested in what we're spending money on. This is not for frills. As Tom said earlier, this is to keep our courthouse functionable, you know, maintain the structure. The bad thing about it is when we get through, it's going to look just like it does now. You're not going to notice any difference. So we're not doing things to the outside to make it prettier or whatever. We're doing things that have to be done to keep the building what it is.
And also,
I know that. What I meant is, after spending all this money, it's still just going to look just like it is now. We're not doing anything to make it prettier. We're doing things to keep the building up. I just want people to understand that. Tom stressed that the other night at our meeting.
This is really and truly, and Billy, I think you can attest, this is about keeping that building standing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the truth. I mean, I said the other night at that hearing, we've got solid spots in the floors. We've got walls coming apart from the main building. I mean, there's a spot in where our coffee pot is in my office. Every time I step on it, I think I'm going to end up in George Brown's lap down there with her office. But it's she's 116 years old, and she requires a lot of attention. And I've kicked the can down the road for 4 years. I've patched and duct taped and super glued, and it's been done forever. Infrastructure is just the easiest can to kick down the road, and it gets done at every level of government. And that's just the truth.
how many offices are in there?
All of them. Well, I just have to count them all. There's mine, Gary Pascal's, Hilda Patterson's, Joyce's, Dana's, election office, 7 offices. Veterans, yeah, Veterans Affairs.
7.
Yeah, Tommy Evans, Solid Waste.
That'd be 8.
Yeah. Maintenance, yeah. You gonna count maintenance? Yeah.
How far down the road does this get us?
How long will it take to complete the project?
If we spend it in 87, is
Well-
this gonna put the courthouse in good shape for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or?
I've got a packet here, a book that I'd offer all of it. It's 70 pages long. This includes all the bond resolution. It includes our finance analysis. And if you'll look at how we've got this financed, we decided on 15 years on the courthouse issues because that's the warranty life of the roof. I didn't see taking it any past so I'm hoping at least 15 years. At least 15 years on. I hope it addresses the basement issue permanently and buys 15 years on the roof. And if you'll look at, like I said, look at our funding analysis, that's the reason we did that. That's why we did it 15 years. Isn't that right, Scott?
That's right.
Yeah. Now the ambulances, the vehicles, they'll be coming off in the first 4 years, as always. That's as long as you can finance a vehicle. The sheriff's security upgrades, I think we did, where's the sheriff at? I think we did those 8 years, I believe. I'll talk to the sheriff about how long that equipment would last, and he seemed to think it would be 8 years. We took it 8 years, 4 years on the vehicles, 8 years on the security upgrades, and then 15 years on the courthouse and fairgrounds. Yes, sir.
Those 116-year-old bricks that we've got there, are they going to be the standard pressure of rebuilding up under there?
The brick are in pretty good shape still today. With the issue of the water from the roofs leaking down in there, some of the mortars deteriorating.
The reason I asked that, when they did the last job on there, made it look pretty, I walked up to some of the contractors, was talking to them, they didn't know who I was at the time. And he told me we were wasting money. I said, what do you mean? He took a water hose and stuck it on the side of the building. I said, where's the water? He says, all going inside the building.
It was at the time, and that's being addressed in this scenario also. We're going to put another coat on the existing brick there. So.
Is there any chance that anything would happen during this construction that it would cause it to be condemned?
I hope not. That may be some of the things that's unknown until we get in there, but I don't think so. The building, to be 116-year-old, if we do these things that is being proposed to do, is going to resolve a lot of issues there. It's been patched on, patched. This is a pretty major renovation to it. Not many cosmetics, but structural issues and water issues, which is going to cause it to collapse at some point in time.
Is this building on some kind of historic register? And if it is, can we get some kind of help, either federal or state, to try to maintain it, or at least so it doesn't fall down? It seems logical that would be available.
It is logical. The state of Tennessee, the federal government cut the historical buildings fund. The state of Tennessee this coming year will get $2.2 million for the whole state, 95 counties. And we've had our development district apply for part of that. We might get $25,000, but 25,000 is 25,000. But we got 2.2 million for the whole state.
How much in federal money is available?
That's the federal money coming through the state for the historical building.
Has the building been checked like asbestos?
Yes, sir, it has been. There are some pipe insulation that is still there, very little, but.
With all the water problems, what about mold?
There's no mold. There's some discoloration on some of the plaster on the inside, but not mold at all.
There is a mildew problem.
It is a mildew
Yeah,
problem.
the mildew is still there, but there's, as of now, we don't have mold.
Yeah.
Mr. Hill, would you happen to know the time on this construction project?
You mean from start to finish?
Yes, sir.
We're thinking 12 to 14 months, depending on, we're gonna be getting back in the winter, if we have a winter like we had this past, but 12, 14 months.
that's why we're flooring these resolutions today, and I don't like doing late files. We can avoid it, but I really want to get this out as quickly as possible and buy some time and get some of this done this summer when the weather's right for it. So it'll take us, Scott, how long will it take us to get the funding in place to start letting the bids out?
Y'all adopt the resolution today. I plan on having county money by June 30th this year,
By June 30th.
if not sooner.
But is it gonna be operational while
Yes, sir.
Yes.
it's being done?
Yeah, it's gonna be an inconvenience, like the mayor said, but we're gonna keep one side open. Our intent is to try to work on one side or the other, whichever one they allow us to have.
Mentioned a boiler replacement. How extensive are you going with mechanicals? Wiring, plumbing,
Yes, sir.
all that completely redone?
Everything, now there said there are some newer units there that we're not gonna replace. There are a lot of areas in the courthouse that doesn't even have any area. So we're gonna add to, the mechanical system and move some stuff around to free up some more air on some where they're sharing too much with the existing units. So, but the entire courthouse will be heat and cooled by a mechanical system as opposed to the boiler.
Electrical system, is it up to code now?
The electric is, yeah. And of course, we're gonna add new panels for all the stuff that we're doing. But yeah, the electrical is okay. The boiler is a ticking time bomb. Eventually, there was a factory up in Paris, Tennessee, 3 or 4 years ago, had this same boiler in it. And when it exploded, it blowed half the end of the building out of it. So if this thing doesn't, I'm not saying that it will, it's a possibility. You may be building a new courthouse and hopefully nobody's in it, but it is a ticking time bomb.
That's the first thing I want to see go is that old boiler, and if we do this today, then we can, Scott, we can start the bid process while we're waiting on the bond to sell. Isn't that correct?
You start today at lunch and you get it done this morning.
Okay, that's right.
That time frame's gonna work good for our bidding process with what he said, so.
Great. And again, I want to stress this, what we're trying to do here today is buy that building another 116 years, is really what it boils down to. I think it's a beautiful building. I think we got the prettiest courthouse in the state. You know, I'm partial to it. It's the centerpiece of the county. It's what people think about when they think about Gibson County, and I think it's worth saving, just plain and simple. And I hope we can move forward with this today. Anybody, sir, did you have a question?
Yes, sir. David Simons from Milan. Commissioner Flake there represents me. When is Lashley Rich going to be held responsible and accountable for the contracts that they've already got? The juvenile courthouse moved, supposed to be a brand new renovated building. Still got issues down there that were supposed to have been in the original contract, still haven't been taken care of. Is there going to be accountability for this $1.7 million of our money? They've worked on the courthouse, and I'm sorry, you know, I'm not trying to make an enemy out of you, I promise you. I'm in the trade myself.
I'm not familiar with issues in the juvenile facility. The way the thing was set up to bid was be done in phases. We just completed the second phase of the roof. There was a budget set for things to do, and we accomplished those things. And to my knowledge, there's no issue with anything that we done at the juvenile facility.
The problem with the juvenile court roof is really as much my fault as anybody's. We were just slow in getting the money in place to fix the roof before bad weather set in. You know, just to be quite honest with you. But that's what this county commission is here to do, is to hold everybody that does work for the county accountable.
There's been work done to resolve the leaking issue at the courthouse year after year.
The same thing is this
Same
there
money
that
that was
were
spent over and
budgets
over
set
again.
up for those things, and a scope developed of what the county wanted us to do, and that's what we've done.
It seems from the outside like a free check every 3 or 4 years to come in there and say we did something. I mean, if we've got workers working on it that will intentionally spray water on the wall so you can watch it seep into the building, that's not who I'm working on my stuff.
I think that happened during the course of the time frame before the seal was put on the brick. When we were pressure washing the brick, it did escape into the brick. That was the purpose of putting the coat of paint on that we put on it.
Is there gonna be a guarantee that in 4 years, you're not gonna have to go back and do this again?
We'll guarantee our work, just like we always do, to have a year warranty on everything. The roofs will have 20-year warranties. And, yes, sir.
Yeah, we got 22 buildings in the county that we have to deal with. We deal with building issues all the time, but there's no perfect approach to it. I think, I mean, I know you guys, Billy does us a great job of addressing the issues as they present themselves, but we bid this work out, like the roof on the courthouse now. When that was done, that job was bid out. The company that received it put the roof on, and not too long after that, I think, went out of business. So how do you hold somebody accountable when they're not in business anymore? I don't always agree with the bid process, but the state law says that's how we have to do it. We have to take the low bidder. If it's over $10,000, we have to let it out to bid and take the low bidder.
If you bid to have a $5,000 desk moved into your office and you end up with a $500 desk, you just write it off. I mean, that's what's been happening.
Who's getting $5,000 desks? I got a $50 desk.
Venetian blinds, carpet, cabinets, whatever. It's don't hold me literally to one $5,000 desk, but there's money being said it's going to be spent on this, but you're not getting the quality that you're supposed to be getting. And who is going to hold them responsible for this? I mean, it's already happened, and they're still continuing. You're still continuing to use the same company. Hey, surely you can't be blind to it.
I don't know anything about $5,000 desk. Or what last year.
I'm sorry I said a $5,000 desk.
Sir, we appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I think we've been going for a long time. I've been here a while with the Band-Aid approach. I guess we're gonna have to bite the bullet and spend some money to fix things. I think that's our whole problem.
And that's the truth. And again, I'm guilty of
what we are.
Band-Aid as anybody.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just come down. We've got a good problem. And I think we've got a good plan in place to do that.
Mayor, am I reading section 7 on page 13 correctly, that there will be this will require a tax increase equal to whatever it takes to pay this back?
On late file number 3?
Yes, sir.
I've only got 3 pages on late file number 3.
Number 4.
We're on late file resolution number 3.
He's on that last. The one we got last.
What is number 4? It's the resolution to pay for it?
Late file resolution number 3 is the initial resolution to set the maximum amount of the bond that we're going to be selling.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then number 4 is how we pay for it?
How we pay for it, correct.
So I'm ahead of it.
We'll get to late file number 4 in just a second.
All right.
Yeah. Resolution number 3 is the initial resolution. It is just for state law purposes. There's a protest period that is provided under state law, and that is what resolution 3 does. When we get to resolution 4, that is the actual bond resolution. I'll be happy to answer those questions as soon as we get to it, or unless you want me to do it now.
Yeah. Does anybody have any further questions or comments on late file number 3?
What the interest rate, that might be what you're gonna address in number 4, is that right?
I can.
Okay. What kind of?
The preliminary numbers we have run, we're probably looking somewhere between, well, let's say 2 1/4 or less is kind of where we are. So for up to 15-year financing, that's not a very bad rate. And actually going back, I've been helping Gibson County for a long time now. The last time that I did some financing for Gibson County, Ronnie Riley was the county mayor, and that's when the work was done on the roof of the courthouse. So it's been a while since some major money has been spent on the courthouse, and even back then that was just more of a patch job because the water was leaking in at the time. Didn't address any of the other issues.
The 2%, is that a balloon rate or is that?
We are looking at, when we issue these bonds, they will be sold in competitive public sales. All the local banks, regional, national institutions will have a chance to submit a bid. We will award the bonds based on the lowest interest rate, and I would expect that rate to be, in today's market, 2.25%, maybe less. So that's not bad. I mean, it's a great time to be borrowing money. I know you don't want to be borrowing money, but it's a great time to be borrowing money because the rates are so low to accomplish your projects and get some major work done in the county at some really low financing rates.
And I don't know if this is the right time to talk about, but we actually talked about the building committee and the budget committee, the possibility of doing the entire project out of fund balance and debt service. And we talked about the possibility of doing that, but I just, with the interest as low as it is, I think it'd put us in a safer position to leave that cash where it is. And we're in good shape. The county's in good financial shape, but we want to keep it that way. I would hate to draw that cash down to that level and then something bad happen down the road and we don't have the reserves to address it. So and we talked about it for a long time.
Don't we have $10 million in interest-bearing account?
Today we do. And that amount changes.
Wouldn't it be better to pay as you go?
Say again?
Wouldn't it be better to pay as you go?
Well, we discussed that possibility and discussed it with Scott and the budget committee, and we could possibly do it, but I think it would put us in a dangerous position as far as cash on hand. I think that, Scott, you may want to expand on that a little bit, but I think we can service the debt at our current tax rate and keep our reserves as they are.
We back in 2000, your debt service fund is very strong. A couple years ago, your money coming in was equal to the money going out, and in 2012 we refinanced some debt and saved a tremendous amount of money as a result. That fund got a little bit healthier in that the revenue probably was, and the county has continued to grow, and so the revenue is probably slightly more than what you need every year. When we add this bond issue in, we're going to get back to a situation where the amount of money coming in is going to equal the amount of money going out. So your fund's in good shape. You can afford to do this project. I agree with the county mayor. You do not want to spend your fund balance. It has taken the county many, many years to build that fund balance up. And once you spend it, it'll take many years potentially to get it back. And there's always projects that potentially could come up. So for example, the mayor has recommended that the TVA money, for example, not go to debt service again because that fund is so healthy. The reason we're recommending putting it in the capital projects fund is not only for small projects that may come up, but you do have an industrial park out there that's been sitting there for a while. You've gotten several grants for that industrial park, but really we're trying to put some money aside that's unrestricted. So if you do have an industry come in, and there's been a lot more prospects in the last year or two versus the previous 4 or 5 years, that there's some money there that you can, potentially entice or match money that you need to for something like that. So I think it's important for you to think big picture. This is you're financing a long-term project up to 15 years. You're going to be financing it at 2 to 2.25%, which is a super low rate. It's going to benefit not only this generation, but the next generation also. And you reserve some of that cash that you have on hand for something else that may come along. And my main top of the thing would be a prospect for the industrial park that you may have to make some contributions to from some fund to ultimately get that deal closed. So that's kind of the more big picture thinking.
And another thing, we've got Commissioner Collin, we deal with issues that's hard to budget for, like our health insurance. We had a 14% increase in our health insurance cost this year. And that will have to come out of fund balance. I mean, we don't have any choice. So, you know, we deal with a lot of uncertainty. Natural disaster, God forbid, could happen. You know, we'd need cash on hand to address cleanup and whatnot. So that's why we decided to go the bond route instead of raiding the fund balance.
I mean, last time there was a tornado here, the county spent $2 million. Had to spend $2 million, and it took 6 years to get all the money back from FEMA. So there was money was out in the first 3 months, and then it took, you know, like I said, 6 years to get it all back from FEMA. So long time to carry the money. So that's just another example. And I think if you think long term, there's going to be sheriff cruisers potentially next year. There's going to be an ambulance or 2 next year. You got multiple budgets coming up. You know, this is kind of a one-time shot. It's going to cover lots of things. But next year, for example, some of those ambulances and stuff, you may end up just writing a check out of fund balance because rates are probably going to be higher next year. And this is kind of everything's kind of come together. You got multiple projects, decent size, rates are low, and next year, you know, I think you can potentially address other issues that may end up being spent out of fund balance.
All good questions, by the way.
I'm just wondering on this capital outlay here, can this note be paid off early?
We are going to set it up. It won't be right day one, but we'll probably put like a 5-year call on it. So after 5 years, you can start writing checks and just pay it all off. You also have some other debt that's out there that is prepayable in the future here in a few years. So if it's not this particular bond issue, there are some other ones that you can make some payments on if you wanted to. So you will have the flexibility between, if not this one, on the rest of the debt the county has to potentially start writing checks if you want to. But if you go look at your cost of debt, it is really, really low. You got one piece of debt that's right at 2%, one that's at 1.7. This one's going to be 2.25, and then the 2009 bonds actually have the highest cost of debt right at 4%. So I mean, in the scheme of things, you have some really low financing costs. You know, your interest cost is not outrageous. That you know, it's not going to save as much money as maybe you think it will.
Do we already have bids on the other projects, 2 through 5, fairgrounds, cars, ambulances? We already have bids on those? We
haven't bid anything yet. We haven't let anything out for bid. These are all estimates. These are all budget estimates. But as we stated earlier, if you guys move forward with this today, we can start the bid process this afternoon. So everything we presented today is estimates.
Tom, you're pretty confident though that in estimates we won't be over, that we'll be that or under.
I feel good about it, yes. But again, you know, once we start digging, you know, we hope we don't run into anything unless it's a chest full of gold. Wouldn't mind that.
Well, I guess I've got one thing. If they was to make some kind of error digging in the foundation, and God forbid something like that happens, like they did at Greenfield and a wall falls, who's responsible? Is their insurance cover
Yes.
this?
Yeah, whoever does the work, they'll be properly licensed and bonded before they can even bid on the project, and their insurance will cover anything like that happens.
We hope nothing like that.
Keep fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Okay, the sheriff's vehicles, he's asking for 6.
Well, actually, that's not correct, and that's my fault. I thought that was for 6, but after talking to the sheriff about it, he thinks he can get 10. Is that right, Sheriff?
That's correct. With that money, I can get, 99% certain I can equip 10 vehicles.
Yeah. That'll replace half your fleet?
Almost half. That'll replace 10 that are 150,000 miles or over. Some of them are over 200,000.
And again, I want to stress this: nobody likes having to borrow money. It's a pain in the butt when you get right down to it. But I don't want to be the mayor that let the courthouse fall down either. You know, I wouldn't like that to be part of my legacy. So we're going to stay on top of it. We're going to see to it that we get a quality job done. And I can't do anything about what's happened in the past or before my election, but I'm going to try to stay on top of it as best I can. That's all I can promise anybody. Yeah, David.
Mayor, I was trying to figure out that this seems like an advantageous time for the county commission to make a long-term decision The courthouse, we love that old courthouse. It is beautiful. And we hate to lose it, but it has a finite life. It's come to the point when it's just pouring more money into it than we can possibly keep it up. Would it be a good time to make a long-term decision on whether to spend this money or go for a new office building, $7 to $8 million, because we're spending about 20% of that. That would pay for 20% of a new office building.
I'm not gonna be the one that tore the courthouse down. I'm just not gonna do it. It's a centerpiece of our county. I think it's worth saving, and that's why we're doing this today. And if there's anybody in the county that would rather us tear the courthouse down and move forward, then you need to run for county mayor and suggest it, because I'm not. You know, I love that old building. I think we need to save it. Yes, sir. Commissioner Lawman.
I think the long-term effect here is we're looking for 15 years. That's exactly our projection, and that's what we're going for. So that's pretty long contingency that we're going to have 15 more years out of it, and then at that point in time we may have to reevaluate. But I think this is little money for 15 years.
And again, I hope the basement issue is way beyond 15 years, and we're hoping for that to be a more permanent fix to that. Oh yeah, and by the way, we're going to fix the clock too. Yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah, we've had a lot of complaints about the clock not working, so there's money for that also. But question's been called for. Yeah. Do I hear a motion on late file number 3? Motion made by Commissioner Longmire, seconded by Commissioner Littleton. Any further discussion?
What are the jail security upgrades? Generally speaking, the jail security upgrades for $400,000+. What is that?
Sheriff, you want to come forward and address that, please? Thank you, Scott.
May have to defer some of it to the chief back there, because he's the one who's been dealing with this part of it. The jail upgrades or the security cameras. Right now, all the cameras that are there are the old analog cameras, the DVR recording systems, the control tower, the board that runs the control tower. That control board that sits there operates every door in the facility. Twice since I've been in office, the board has crashed, and one time it was during supper, during meal serving time, and we had people trapped between doors that couldn't get in or out, people that were moving inmates in the facility that were trapped between doors. They had to drink, but 3 sets of keys that control the whole building. I have one, the chief has one, the jail administrator has one, so we all come from home to bring our keys to do everything manually. We've had several incidences since I've been there of inmate complaints, either complaints about abuse from staff that we tried to go back and review the camera recording system on that wasn't working. We had somebody come in the lobby one night and rip the water fountain off the wall. We went back and reviewed that. It wasn't working that night. We've had some inmate-on-inmate altercations that we've gotten letters from attorneys where they were contacted by their client with a potential lawsuit. We go back and try to pull that, and it wasn't working. It wasn't recording. So it's just to upgrade everything electronically that was put in originally when the building was opened up. It's run its course. Upgrades. It's all the cameras will be digital instead of analog. So that's what it consists of. And that estimate that we give there, I'm confident we'll come in under that. There's no way we'll be over that.
Any further questions?
Yes, sir. I have one on the vehicle we're going to get rid of. What's your plan?
The ones we get rid of, we'll auction those off.
I had a couple of compliments ready. Maybe they could get a couple of those cars and use them in their.
I'm not saying I'm opposed to it, but I'm not saying I'm for that just yet. There's some legality issues of attaching ourselves with the constables because we don't provide their training to them. They're responsible for their own training. So anything they do, they're liable for it. So I just have to be careful there for all of us about what I provide to them and you know, the services we give to them, the equipment. If it's something that can be done, I'm not opposed to it. But for any that were here during the budget committee meetings, I went over the vehicle list, and I've got those numbers here in front of me if anybody'd like to see them today, and I could dig them out of my notes here. And I had it broke down exactly how many. We've got 26 patrol cars, marked patrol cars in service right now. We only have 7 of them that are under 100,000 miles, and 4 of those we obtained since I took office. The other 3 were there already, but 4 of the 7 that's under 100,000 I've managed to obtain since I've been there. We have 4 that's over 200,000 miles. We have 9 between 150 and 200,000 miles, and 6 of them between 100 and 150,000 miles. We have 5 that are over 10 years old. These vehicles are unreliable. Some of them I wouldn't even feel safe giving to the constables. You know, it's pretty common if you go by Griffin's Automotive up here to see one of our cars sitting on a rollback getting dropped off because they were on the way to call and something went dead on it.
So they would be available to auction, the constable could buy them?
Sure, sure.
Any further questions?
Paul, explain your process, how you go through auction, how you use that.
Well, it can be done a couple different ways. It can be done online through Gov Deals. We can put the cars online for auction and run it a couple weeks, which is what most departments now are using Gov Deals, the online service. Or we could do we publish it in the paper, set an auction date, and auction them off that way. A public auction, and include other county property as well. If there's other departments that have something they need to get rid of, we could do it that way as well.
I just like to add that GovDeals is trending to be one of the most popular auction sites available for assets like this. And I've been involved in that through our company. We took a $1,000 piece of equipment that, you know, that's basically what we thought what it would bring. Put it on GovDeals, it brought about $4,500. So it's a very, I think it's, you know, there's some logistics in it where they're getting an admin fee, but it's not a lot of money. It just works well because you're spreading the opportunity out to a lot of folks at one time.
Buy local and sell global.
Sure. Can you explain at the budget hearing about how your plans about rotating vehicles out, and then also I know with the recent weather we had first of the year.
Sure.
How you're planning
The situation that I'm in when I took over the sheriff's department with our vehicles, like I told you, the age and the mileage is on them. There's been no new patrol cars put in service for quite some time. I took the money that was budgeted for the previous administration. We moved some money around, saved some money in some areas and moved it. And then I got that bonus for the inmate phone services. We took that money and purchased new vehicles. So we were able to obtain some vehicles that way more than we would have gotten ordinarily. We bought one used, it's a 2013 Ford Explorer patrol vehicle this winter from Missouri Highway Patrol. And during the last ice storm, it was the only vehicle that we had other than the expeditions that could go anywhere in the county. We have patrol cars that were stuck at homes and driveways that couldn't get out, stuck at the sheriff's office that couldn't get out, patrol cars that were going on calls and were running off in ditches. Unfortunately, when the ice comes, we still get calls. Believe it or not, the complaints that we get don't stop. We still have the domestics to answer. We still get the neighbors with the music turned up too loud to answer. People don't take into consideration that we have to get from point A to point B. So the Explorer was priceless to us. It's an all-wheel drive vehicle. It's a 6-cylinder as opposed to an 8-cylinder, so there's a gas mileage difference on it. Plus, Ford's not making a Crown Vics anymore. Any Crown Vic that we buy would be a used car. It's proven to be the most reliable police car that's been put out in the Crown Vics. But the Explorer it's in my opinion, it's the best vehicle we need for so much. We've got over 600 square miles that we cover, and a big part of it's rural. And You know, when we get ice, we all know it sticks around for a couple weeks in some parts of the county, as much as 4 weeks on the north end of the county this last time. That's the vehicles we're going to go with. It just made more sense to go with those vehicles than the patrol cars. And in the big scheme of things, with that money that's in that bond, we're only talking about maybe 1.5 vehicles difference as opposed to a car over the SUV in the price line. And I know I'm going to come in and be able to replace 10 of them with that, because we've also worked out a deal with some of the junk cars that's sitting over here behind the EMA. Some of the stuff's been sitting here so long we can't even find a registration, an owner for it. We've been in the process of sending certified letters, and we're going to trade a bunch of the scrap cars to get 2 vehicles fully equipped. It won't cost us a dime. We'll equip them with new radios, cages. That'll save us almost $10,000 right there off that bond issue that I won't have to budget for or come out of pocket for. But what was the rest of your question?
I think your entire fleet with the mileage that your time period you're planning.
It's the rotation, right?
That you're not getting into these vehicles that get too many miles.
Right. We get on average, if the vehicle's serviced properly and barring a transmission don't fall out, we can get roughly about 8 years is what we're getting right now in our vehicles. These 10 that I can purchase now will replace 10. The lowest was 156,000 miles, the highest was 230,000 miles. That'll get those out of the fleet. And then with the money that's in the budget, the actual budget, in the vehicle line item, I can use that money over the next few years and replace a few at a time. And it'll get us on a cycle that when these vehicles start nearing the 8-year mark, we can rotate them out and rotate them in. And what I explained to the budget committee, 30 years from now, when I retire from this job, I hope, whoever takes over behind me will be on the cycle they need to be on to have the vehicles, because every department does it. If you watch every department each year, you'll see parked at every police department or sheriff's department around, you'll see new vehicles sitting there, and then you'll see old vehicles go out, because you get them on a rotation, and you have to keep them. I mean, it's if this had been being done for the past several years, I wouldn't be standing here now, but unfortunately I'm the one that needs to take the bite of the bullet. But it's a necessity. I'm not standing up here asking for speedboats and helicopters. I'm asking for patrol cars just to provide the service that we need to provide.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Have you looked into burned fuel vehicles?
We have. I've met with Mr. Riley a couple of times actually, and we spoke about it at the budget committee meeting one night. When I start looking at purchasing these vehicles, we're going to try to see if we can find one initially that'll be alternative compressed natural gas that'll work at the new filling station the gas company's putting up, and on gasoline. I don't want to do any more than one right now because I don't know how they're going to hold up and what to expect from them. And then I'm not sure exactly how much the cost difference is going to be. You know, if it's $3,000 or $4,000, we'll probably save it. If it's $8,000 or $10,000 more, I don't know that it would benefit us to have very many of them. But I'm going to try to obtain one if the cost allows.
And on the jail security, I know that's going to replace your control panel and all that, but you talked about these other quads that are not being used.
It'll get all that up going too. We got a pod over there, or the new part of the jail that's not being used. It'll get all that going as well. It'll replace all that.
So that on each quad you said would be.
It wouldn't allow us to open up every pod that's there now because there's other issues that have to be addressed as well. There's some plumbing issues, some different things, but it would put the security measures in place. That part of it will be covered. It'll allow us to open up two pods right now that we can open up. Which one pod will hold 26 additional inmates. The second one probably between 25 and 30. I don't remember the bed count in the second one. It's ready to go. But this will allow us to be able to monitor those.
Staff them also.
Well, we proposed the manpower issue didn't allow us to staff that. Yes.
Because potentially your state prisoner population could be increased.
I sent out after the budget committee meetings. For those that were here, we discussed bringing in more state inmates to generate revenue, and just to test the waters, I had the executive secretary from the Tennessee Sheriff's Association send out an email last week to every sheriff's office in the state of Tennessee, letting them know that we may potentially be looking for, I said 20 in the email. She forwarded the email I sent her. 20, no special needs. I clarified no special needs, which is no medical conditions. 20 state inmates, already sentenced inmates that you get paid for. And I said we may potentially be taking on 20. In 30 minutes, I had 100 inmates offered to me from 11 different counties across the state of Tennessee. When I come in this morning, there were 2 more notes in my mailbox from 2 counties I had contacted. So generating the revenue to cover the cost of that is not going to be a problem at all. I mean, I could have 50 up here today if I had the manpower to process them in and guard them. So generating the revenue for that is not an issue at all. 20 of them, and I crunched the numbers specifically down to medical costs, food, everything, employee costs, everything in here the last week or 2 weeks ago at the budget meetings, and 20 of them, even with hiring 6 new deputies, still puts us in the good. So 6 new deputies, I can take on 40. 20 of them will bring in just over $300,000 a year. 20 additional state inmates.
You're planning on doing that right off?
Sure. We can take the 20. We're ready to take the 20, and if the budget gets passed with the manpower we asked for, we'll take on the other 20 soon thereafter. That's an additional just over $600,000 that goes back to the general fund. Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
Motion has been made and seconded on late file resolution number 3. If there are no further comments, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes,
No.
Commissioner Egbert,
Mayor, I did not receive a late file packet, so I don't know, is there an additional packet there?
They were mailed last week.
I received my general packet, I think, on Saturday, but I have not received these, so I will vote no.
Commissioner Cunningham,
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes,
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire,
Yes.
Commissioner Carr,
Yes.
Commissioner Mackin,
Yes.
Commissioner Bivens,
No.
Commissioner Tubbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron,
Yes.
Commissioner Summers,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Nance,
No.
Commissioner Locke,
No.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Flake,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner McEwen,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Pell,
Yes.
Commissioner Steele,
Yes.
Commissioner Yerry,
Yes.
Commissioner Childers,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss.
Yes.
20 yes, 5 no.
Motion carries. Thank you. And thank you for all the good questions and input too. All right, late file 3 was to set up the bar and oven. Late file 4 is to set up the paying back. So I hear a motion on late file number 4. Motion made by Commissioner Pilla, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham. Any discussion on late file number 4?
We can do this by tax increase, right?
Yes. Yeah, our debt service is healthy. It's better than healthy. Any further discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes,
No.
Commissioner Egbert,
No.
Commissioner Cunningham,
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes,
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire,
Yes.
Commissioner Carr,
Yes.
Commissioner Macklin,
Yes.
Commissioner Bivens,
No.
Commissioner Tubbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron,
Yes.
Commissioner Summers,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Nance, Commissioner Locke,
No.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Flake,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner McEwen,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Pillar,
Yes.
Commissioner Steele,
Yes.
Commissioner Yergin,
Yes.
Commissioner Childers,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss.
Yes.
20 yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Let's take a 5-minute recess if you don't mind. People, please come to order, please. This time I'd like to call on Mr. Floyd Flippin to offer a report on pending lawsuits.
Good news is I only have one lawsuit to report on. I mentioned to you all last meeting that we have Green Tree Servicing versus Gibson County. This is a lawsuit that seeks damages from the county for a deficient tax sale, and we have turned that over to and negotiated with the county's liability insurance carrier, and they are now picking up the defense of that. So as far as legal fees are concerned, we'll be out of that. That lawsuit is going through the discovery phase. We arguably did make a mistake in the notice to one of the lien holders, and so hopefully that will get worked out. But it'll be, and we're grateful. The county has a really good liability insurance carrier, and they have good lawyers that represent us and do a good job. So there's no other lawsuits. So does anybody have any questions?
Floyd, I've looked at county tax sales, and we've got just the stuff that's been turned over to the clerk and master. The numbers that I have are 431,000 and some change. Those run from 2009 through 2013 in Trenton, and then Humboldt run from 2004 through 13. I know we have a county tax attorney. Do you oversee that at all to be sure that those are going forward and moving forward?
I will say no, I never have. The history of that, real shortly, is that when I took over as county attorney, Barbara Palmer was trustee, and she was used to walking across the street to do the tax sales, and she said, "Floyd, do you mind not being the delinquent tax attorney? I would like for," and I said, "Sure, that's fine," and it's continued from that point forward. I will say that there's been quite a bit of criticism about the frequency of tax sales and the way in which they're being conducted, and I believe that the trustee has instituted, and as well as others, I think that will improve. Is that, Dana, is that a favorite?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't want, it's certainly not Dana's fault, but in any event, yes, there's been a problem with getting not only tax sales done, but also getting them done correctly, and I believe that's going to.
Well, I realize that this is not dollar for dollar, and the ladies at the clerk's office have indicated that. Of course, this doesn't include penalty and interest either. These are just base numbers, is what I think I have. But is there anything we can do as a county body to direct that we want these collected, or at least these prosecuted, to try to get them collected?
Yeah, what I'd like to do, if you can, if you would wait and in July when we come back, I'll have a more report for you, but I believe that you'll see an improvement.
Okay, thanks.
Mayor, is that fair answer? Yeah. Thank you. Let me say one more thing. I want to brag on the sheriff back there. I don't know what this says about me, but I've been involved in an appeal of an unemployment decision, and felt real good about our chances of winning that, and we lost. The sheriff just handled one by himself and won, so I don't know what that means, but I want to give him credit. I don't think he's got a law license, but apparently you don't need one to win one. So I'll work on getting better in unemployment here.
He's a jailhouse lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Flippin, for that report. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve his report. Motion made by Commissioner Steele, seconded by Commissioner Tubbs. All those in favor vote saying aye. Aye. And opposed, like sign. At this time, I'd like to call on Commissioner Kimmery to offer a report from the Correctional Committee.
Good morning.
Morning.
Our correctional committee met last Monday, May the 4th, with the sheriff and some of his staff. We had 3 members present. And Sheriff Thomas told us about the new phone system. It's in place. They already sold some 6,000 phone cards, which will generate about $10,000 to $11,000 of revenue per month, whereas the old company was paying us about $3,800 per month. I also looked at the budget, and it's pretty much on track for the year. The need for another drug dog was discussed because he's had to call in the young man with the drug dog for different times, and this can run into overtime. And the plans are to use funds from the drug task force funds to purchase a search, rescue, and an apprehension dog. Now these funds are restricted. They can only be used for drug problems. And there's no tax dollars involved. They're already in place, and it's a pretty good little balance. So this is from seizures and fines and things like that. So there's no taxes that we, property tax or anything, budgeted for that. And he's looking into buying one of those dogs right now. He plans on taking on, as he told you, 20 new additional state inmates real soon. And we covered that, so I'll leave that alone. He does have a garden down there that's been planted, and it's a good thing about it. It gives the inmates something to do. It gives them some pride in what they do. You know, something they can start and carry it through. It'll also provide a lot of fresh vegetables for the meals, and hopefully we'll cut down on some food costs. And we'll have surplus produce and going to donate it to the local food banks. The kiosk system is up and running and working very well. The paperless grievance system has just been put into effect, and the sheriff said it's working real well. And on this, inmates are allowed 7 grievances per week, so that'll cut down a lot of paperwork. As you know, we talked about vehicles, so we're going to let that one. We've already told you about how old they are and everything, so let that one go. He did tell us that the Milan Police Department gave the county their used taser guns. We have 15 jailers that have been certified in the use studies. This deal really helps the safety of the jailers and the inmates because before, you know, they just had to go down and if somebody gave a problem, they had to go in and just take them down or use mace or whatever, and everybody got mace and everybody got beat up, blood and everything else with the tasers. It solves a lot of problems. There's never been any lawsuits that's won on taser court, according to what I found out. But anyway, the Milan Police Department did give the sheriff the taser gun for about a savings, about $15,000. They got new ones and gave us their old ones. So that's real good working with other agencies in the county. Bulletproof vests has also been ordered for all the deputies and all the officers at a cost of about $30,000. This was accomplished by using surplus funds in the total budget. And the ones that, some of the deputies didn't even have any kind of vest, and the others have worn out, they're not good, and he said the life of one is about 5 years. The mileage that they drove, the business they checked and everything is in the report. It was mailed out, so we won't worry with that. He did tell us that he's hired 2 new deputies, and they'll be starting this week, and that'll bring our total number of patrol officers for 218, which should ease up some on the overtime and comp time. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Commissioner, for that report. I entertain a motion to approve his report. Motion made by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Flake. All those in favor vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. At this time, I'd like to call on Commissioner Keith Steele to offer a report from the EMS Public Safety Committee.
Everybody that's on the ambulance committee will have a committee meeting after this meeting today. For the month of March, we had 599 emergency calls, 451 non-emergency calls, for a total of 1,050 calls for the month of March. In April, we had 424 emergency calls and 533 non-emergency calls, for a total of 957 calls. Our ambulances are staying very busy. For March, we collected $225,428.83, and for April, we collected $263,032.98. Up to the year, we're up to $2,414,732, and we are $123,065 over budget. Our projected budget for the income for the year was $2,750,000, and at the pace we're going right now, we'll be close to $3.1 million if our collections stay as they are. We're averaging $241,000 a month. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Commissioner Steele, for that report. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve his report. Motion made by Commissioner Miles, seconded by Commissioner Tubbs. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. This time I'd like to call on Mr. Robert Lockert to offer a report from the Airport Board.
Good morning.
Good morning.
March hangar rent of $5,088. We sold 8 gas, 812.64 gallons for $3,738. Jet A was 259 gallons for $1,140, for a total of $9,966.37. April hangar rent was 2,900. Sold 417 gallons of A gas for $1,919.76. Jet A sold 1,580 gallons for $6,952, for a total of $11,772. Of course, all the rainy weather we had, that kind of interfered with flying, but it helped the crop duster business. Everybody sprayed the wheat for the fungus to keep it down. We're doing an airport layout plan that was in the budget for last year, and the state has come to us with some recommendations on that. We had approved a beacon project that the grant was already approved and we were in the midst of doing, and they have asked us to hold up on that for the time being, because they are considering us moving our beacon in a location to where it's not in the way of the fire department. The fire department building has gotten built right up to the edge of the beacon. We've had an issue or two with cables being broken and things, and so we're thinking that they're wanting us to move that beacon to get it out of the way of the fire department and keep people from running over the cables that are buried underground. So they've asked to hold up on this repair grant that we had, and we will make an amendment to this grant, and we'll get more federal money for this move. So I think that'll be a good outcome for us. It'll get it out of the way of the fire department. We won't have any more issues with that, and we're going to get it up a little bit higher where you can see it later also. Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that report. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve his report. Motion made by Commissioner Morgan, seconded by Commissioner Longmire. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. This time I'd like to call on Commissioner Robin Summers to offer a report from Fire Rescue and Emergency Management.
Morning.
Morning.
The Gibson County Fire and Rescue, we met with Brian on April 13th and with several of his station chiefs and firemen to kind of go over. Brian's come up with, I guess you'd say, a 5-year plan for equipment he needs. We talked about tankers, talking about tanker pumpers, starting to replace air packs on a rotation, turnout gear, and various other equipment. Brian has still not heard for some of the things he's asking for are pumpers and tanker pumpers and the CDBG grant and the AFG grant. We still have not, as of today, heard anything from those. No, sir. That's not necessarily bad news because we hadn't been told no yet. Some of these other things are being addressed as at this time by the budget committee, and you'll hear more about that when we vote on the budget. starting next month or whatever it is. Brian's department, the month of March, made 87 calls. They had 32 fire and rescue calls, 55 medical first responders, had 16 training meetings, and his firefighters donated 1,447 hours in March. In April, they had 117 calls, which is included 35 fire and rescue calls, 82 first responder calls, and 13 training meetings, and they donated over 1,562 hours. For the 4 months of this year, volunteers have had 417 calls, excuse me, and donated over 8,000 hours. They're averaging over 3 calls a day. We did not meet with Ricky this past month. Ricky, is there anything you'd like to add or report to this time? Okay. Anybody have any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Summers, for your report. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this report. Motion made by Commissioner Tubbs and seconded by Commissioner Morgan. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. Commissioner Moss, you have a tourism. Greg, you want to offer a report on comp time?
I laid a report on everybody's table before the meeting, and I will say that I do lack March's numbers from the Sheriff's Department on comp time, and that will bring that number down even more, because I know the Sheriff has paid a lot of his comp time out with employees that have left, and he's paid them off. But I'm showing that since January, we have reduced our comp time by almost $15,000 in cost. Now, keep in mind that we've paid that out. It doesn't mean that we've saved that money. The comp time's been paid for. And we're also on track for June 30th that we're going to create in the financials a liability for this comp time, and going forward, starting July 1st, any comp time that's accrued in any department will be paid for in the current budget year, so it will need to be budgeted for. Just wanted to reiterate that from our last meeting, make sure everybody was fully understanding that. Is there any questions on any of in the report that I laid before you? All right.
Thank you, Greg. And I just want to say a word of praise to Greg for his hard work during our budget hearings and all the things we've asked him to do. We've thrown a lot at him over the past few months, and I think he's doing a good job for us. So, Greg, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like Commissioner Longmire to offer a summary of our budget hearings.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, all. I'd just first like to say that we've had several good sessions for our budget hearings in the last few weeks. We've got to hear basically from all our department heads on their needs and concerns, and certainly as a budget committee and commissioners for this county, we want to try to see fit that we can accommodate what we can based on the revenue that this county generates. So at this time, we are not prepared to propose the budget as of yet. I think we'll do that in the recess meeting. And I just want to say thank you for all of those who attended. I think our attendance was very high this year for budget hearing. I was very pleased to see that. I appreciate your input. It means a lot to the committee. We're trying to get down to the nitty gritty and brass tacks of the revenue versus the needs. And I want to also extend my special thanks to Director Phillip for the work that he is doing. 5 months he's been here, he's made a tremendous change, and he's helped us a lot in understanding what revenue comes into this county as well as the expenditures. And so I really do appreciate what he's doing, and I think we've got great things to come from him. So saying that, I won't continue any further other than to say that we do have 2 more scheduled meetings, one of them being this Thursday at 6 o'clock at the boardroom of the courthouse, and there's an alternate scheduled for next Tuesday at 6 o'clock also at the courthouse. These are not required. Again, I'm just offering to the commission to let you know that the budget committee will be meeting on those nights to finalize some numbers and try to get a proposal ready for our recess meeting. So if there's any questions now, I'll try to answer them, but I think it would be best to hold off to true budget questions, numbers, until we have a proposal ready. So anything further?
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve his report. Motion made by Commissioner Steele, seconded by Commissioner Morgan. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. And I spoke with Commissioner Longmire this morning. My office is going to issue a June 8th cutoff date for purchase orders, and then we'll come back from a recess session on June 22nd for a first reading of the budget. We'll set it when we get ready to recess at the end of the meeting. We'll talk about that. Hey, but before I forget it, we've got our friends from Gibson County Library here with us today. Would you guys like to stand and be recognized? You waited all morning. We appreciate you being here. And that's who your good manager from that's on the table there today. I would encourage any of you here today to go by the library and see what they got going on. Summer reading program, I'm sure, is going to be starting up here before too long, and just see the traffic that they deal with in there. A lot of people using the library, and we appreciate you working as hard as you do to provide us with a great library.
Get a motion to approve Greg's report.
Did I not do a motion? Did we approve your report, Greg? Did we approve your report? Did we get a?
Yeah, I did.
Motion made by Commissioner Steele.
Who seconded?
Who seconded?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, Kevin Moore.
Missed that.
Yeah. I thought we did.
No, but we got that for the day. I got it from mine from y'all. Y'all did it from Greg's too.
We'll just do it now. Just
Yeah.
do it now.
Motion made by Commissioner Steele, seconded by Commissioner Morgan. All those in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Thank you very much. We've got four positions on the 911 board. You see the candidates being offered here. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve these appointments. Motion made by Commissioner Summers, seconded by Commissioner Jurgens. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. Have any further motions? Oh, Andy, would you want to make a report on the fair board? Yeah, come on. Yeah, I'm sorry. Only talked to you 3 times this morning. I don't know why I forgot you.
I wear a brighter color next time where you'll see me. I don't have a lot to report on. There's obviously a lot more to report on when I come after the fair, but we are starting our planning and have several things going on. We've got our dates for our fair are just slightly different than they normally are, just because of the way the carnival schedule fell. The fair will be August the 31st through September the 5th. That's a Monday through a Saturday like it's been being. And the carnival will be back to being open all week. They weren't able to be last year. We've set our theme, fun for the whole herd. We're going to go back to, I'm sure a lot of you remember when they had a small fair book instead of the big tabloid. Most of the little old ladies entering their stuff really liked that. We're going back to that book. Our opening ceremonies, we always honor a different group each year. We've been through all the different communities in Gibson County, and then a few different groups. This year we're going to honor all the law enforcement agencies of Gibson County. The sheriff's group in each city's police department. We're adding a few new events. We're planning on having a demolition derby. We're not quite sure how we're going to pull all of that off, but we're going to add that and hopefully a couple of other new events to the fair. We're also, I'm sure most of you probably know by now, we're back to having a flea market. Can't really call it first Monday. It's the second weekend of each month. So it was just held this previous weekend. So that's getting the fairground used a little more year-round and also bringing in a little income for us that allows us to do some things, some improvements, and add some things to the fair and try to get some good use out of that money. For anybody that's interested, our Fair Association meets the first Monday night of each month. I'd invite all of you to come. I'll give you fair warning that you may get put to work if you come. But I'd invite any of you who are interested to come to our meetings the first Monday night of each month. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. We appreciate your hard work out there. I know it can be hectic at times. We dealt with some issues last year while the fair was going on. Andy did a good job of handling it for us. We appreciate it. That's why you make the big bucks doing that. Do you have any further motions?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to see the housekeeping done in our circuit court room on the jury box.
You say again, please.
Have some housekeeping done with the jury box in our circuit court. I served on jury duty last month, and the jury box is a little stiff. It's a little bit too much for some of the ladies that served on it. Some of them failed. And so I wanted to get a little orange thing that's on the step on the back of the jury box where people can see when they step up.
I'll pass this on to our building maintenance manager. I will. There shouldn't be any problem.
Get a motion on the fair board.
Oh yeah, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve Andy's report. Motion made by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Littleton. All those in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Anything else? You received in your packets a list of notaries. Madam Clerk, do you have any additions to that list?
You got yours there?
Just the additions. What is? Would you like me to read the additions? We have Gloria Knott from Milan, Brian Patterson from Dyer, Mark Stevens from Humboldt, Donna Copus from Milan, Janet Smith from Trenton, Robert McKinley from Humboldt, Kelly Hopeful from Milan, and Wanda Frazier from Bradford. Added to this list. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this list. Motion made by Commissioner Steele, seconded by Commissioner Morgan. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes?
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire?
Yes.
Commissioner Carr?
Yes.
Commissioner Macklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Bivens?
Yes.
Commissioner Tubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan?
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron?
Yes.
Commissioner Summers?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Nash?
Yes.
Commissioner Locke?
Yes.
Commissioner Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Flake?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner McEwen?
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Pillow?
Yes.
Commissioner Steele?
Yes.
Commissioner Jurgen?
Yes.
Commissioner Childress?
Yes.
Commissioner Moss?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. We're going to recess, as stated earlier, to June 22nd at 9 a.m. for a first reading of the budget. Morning meeting, okay with everybody? We had a night meeting last year, and as you all recall, it was very poorly attended by both commissioners and the public. So I think the morning time works better for everybody.
What day of the week is that?
That's on a Monday. It's on a Monday. June 22nd, 9 a.m. We stand in recess. Thank you.